Corroded plates, twisted struts, scattered scrap. The manufacturing makes for a familiar sight. Just one more ragged artifact from the corporation that once owned the system. Despite that, something about it sets you on edge. Perhaps because it also will form the crucible for your attempt to take on an SNARP hunter. The kind whose entire job is to bring in escaped sleepers like you, dead or alive. The rig is tucked behind a rock, running on low power with its transponder off. You hope that it's enough not to draw attention. So, talk us through it. Seraphim turns back to Flint, Cadence, and Xander, all of whom are crammed into the cockpit along with your crew. You have to make this place look like a colony. That is what the hunter will expect. Cadence suggests first, her voice quavering a little with anxiety. We can seal up some of the holes, maybe install some lighting, fake it up. Okay, Seraphim nods reassuringly. That's good. What then? We force them to go deep. Xander cuts in, and everyone looks at him. He pauses, a little intimidated by the attention, but Flint nods at him to continue. I've been out here before, on a salvage run. There's an assembly line that runs through the whole place, filled with old manufacturing machines. We seal doors, activate machines, make it a maze of malfunctioning construction arms and dead ends. Alright then, control the route. I like it. Seraphim smiles at Xander. And if we get lucky, maybe one of those old machines do the job for us. I doubt it. Flint joins in. We'll need the ordnance from the silos, mining charges, fuel, whatever is left from when this place was churning out Solheim goods. They furrow their brow. We blow the place, to make sure. A silence passes through the cockpit, the danger of what you're about to attempt dawning on everyone present. Okay, Seraphim has a dark look. That's the plan. We can detonate the ordnance with a command from the rig, a simple wideband comm signal. We'll get them. Seraphim pats Flint on the shoulder. Once they go in, that hunter isn't coming back out. He turns to you. Anything we missed? Won't the trap be obvious? I don't think it matters, Cadence cuts in. If they know Flint is in there, Hunter will take the risk, right? Right, Seraphim confirms grimly. How long do we think we have? There's a lot of factory down there. The hunter got to me and Karman fast. Flint looks out of the cockpit. No more than 3 cycles. When the hunter came for us, Flint grimaces, remembering the attack on Karman's ship. They came out of nowhere, hit us hard and fast. If it wasn't for Karman, we need to be ready for anything. Flint looks at you. There won't be a warning. Seraphim sighs. Nice pep talk. Flint, you better find someone deep in that place, down in the bedrock. Make sure there's a back door, okay? He nods to the sleeper. The rest of us will get to work. Alright, you heard, Flint. We do this and we do it right. Make our stand on this rock. Let's not waste a moment more. Okay. So, what do we got here? The storage silos. A 3-part plan. Be sure you can face the hunter. All 3 parts of the plan must be ready by the time they arrive. Then the hunter, you'll need to set up the old mining ordnance left of the site to bring the whole facility down. This one is pretty much just me and Bliss. The assembly line. I can do a damn good job at this, actually. To trap the hunter, you'll need to prepare to reactivate the machines and seal the doors once they're inside. And seal the exterior. Disguise the exterior. Be sure the hunter will enter the facility. You need to make it look like the site of an operational colony. So it's Intuit and... what's this skill? Endure. Intuit and Endure. Engage and interface. Alright. Bliss, get to priming those explosives. Mining explosives, emergency breach charges. There's a lot of... there are charges and explosive materials here and there, but will it be enough to bring the place down? There's a lot of ordnance down here. It can be gathered and identified. They're getting it done. Let's see if we can get the doors sabotaged. I think me and Cadet can just do this. Massive bulkhead doors in the main factory require a direct approach if you want to funnel the hunter into the trap. Alright, get on it, Cadet. Persistence and aggression get some of the doors closed. No time to waste. Ugh. The doors won't budge. Some of them are rusted into their frames. This isn't good. I'm gonna work on this one, because I have just 3 successes. The old Solheim manufactory is a ruin. To convince the hunter, you'll need to add lights, paint, signs, all the signatures of a working colony. The trick is to be selective, picking likely spots to install lights, giving the sense of a patchwork colony. Alright, with these dice, I'm just going to hack the machines, because these are just free successes pretty much here. Want me to drive the hunter deeper into the factory to activate the old factory machines, closing off routes and presenting a deadly threat. Careful reprogramming means the machines will go haywire on their next activation. That is everything used. End the cycle. Okay, those are good enough. I can get the assembly line finished with those. The hunter's passage deep in the factory is assured. This might work. You float for a moment, observing the chaos of the old assembly line. The scale of the structure, the number of machines, the arms and fabricators, the welders and bolters suggest industry on a scale you have never witnessed. The Hellion system, a system that now subsists on the leftovers of its failed corporate owners, was once filled with manufactories like this, turning out components and technologies, machines and resources for extracting the valuable materials and minerals that Solheim existed to amass. If someone was able to rebuild one of these places, put it back into operation, imagine what could be fed into the belt. What changes could come for its people? Yet, no one will undertake such a task because this place is haunted by the specter of Solheim, an entity that every being in this system can trace their origins back to, an entity that turned the entire system into a manufactory, a machine for accumulation. That did not distinguish between human and machines as it did. You look at the broken machines, worn down and rusted, crippled and bent. Some of them have been put back into use this past cycle as part of your plan, and those jerk or turn randomly, blindly groping for components that will never be fed to them. None of them are sentient machines like you, so they cannot feel or think. And yet you cannot decide if for them to persist is a kind of cruelty that radiates from the system that created them, or the indication of a new life, one that grants them new function, new meaning, possibility of something more. Creepy, right? Xander floats beside you, his voice hissing through the close-range comms. Maybe the hunter will get spooked by those twitching arms. He imitates the scattered movements of the factory machines. I doubt it. I'm just messing. Those things wouldn't even scare Cadence. So, Xander gives you a look. How come this hunter isn't chasing you? My tracker is deactivated. Huh? Xander shoots you a look. Lucky you. Who did that? My captor. Xander goes quiet. I see. I can't deactivate Flint's for the record. Sure. Xander looks down. But you know, once we're done here, he meets your eyes. They need your help. Xander looks out at the assembly line and sighs. I like Flint. I'm happy to do this for them. He turns back to you. And I want to like you too. Don't mess us up, alright? Xander gives you a hard look. Don't let Flint down. Xander kicks off and glides towards the exit without waiting for a response. You watch him go for a moment before turning away. There's still so much to do. There is so much to do, but thankfully, Bliss and Cadet have some good fucking days. What can I get Cadet to do, actually? Oh god, Cadet actually is terrible. Oh, I should have had Cadet finish off the assembly line. Damn. Well, it's 6 and 5. It still gives her a good chance of getting something done. Let's see if we can get the explosives done. Mining explosives, emergency breach charges, there are lots of old ordnance down here if it can be gathered and identified. Alright, that's working. Are you fucking kidding me? There we go. A crate of mining charges is discovered. You hope at least some of them will still fire. That's good. Can I just finish this? No, I cannot. Reroll. Alright. The interior of the factory is rigged to blow, at least in theory. Go easy with that. Flint's voice rumbles over local comms as you secure the final piece of ordnance. You turn to see them floating, backlit in the entrance to the bay. One of many that you have rigged with ordnance deep in the manufactory. Down here, dust and flecks of rust float to the beams of your light, and the walls are bent and buckled. They spent the past cycles here, picking out a spot to draw the hunter down to, one they should be able to slip out of when the hunter finds their way in. It's a long time to be down in these dark tunnels, waiting. Looks like we're just about done. Their voice is flat, their tone pragmatic. You okay? Flint nods, eager to be done with this. They look over their shoulder, however it plays out. Flint glides into the bay slowly. There's something I need to tell you, something I think you'll understand. What we're doing out here is not about saving me. It's about Oliveira. You struggle to see Flint's face with the light behind them. Should be on a ship out of there, leading this hunter away. But they won't let me do that. They shake their head in frustration. Even if they would, they can't spare the ship. Not after Karman's got shot up. That was my mistake. Never should have let him persuade me to come with him on that supply run. Flint looks down. What's done is done. What matters now, what I need from you, is a promise. Flint's bright irises flash. That you'll bring this place down with me in it, if it means stopping the hunter. I promise, Flint. Flint nods. I knew you'd understand. You know as well as I that those who get close to us are at risk. That we, as sleepers, have to recognize that we opened the door to. Karman is my fault. I won't be Oliveira's downfall, too. With that, they turn and leave you in the dark. Alright. End the cycle. Please don't break, please don't break, please don't break, please don't break. Okay, you know what? I'll take it. Alright, Bliss. Let's see if you can do this first. Let's go. That's how we do it indeed. It is slow progress, but section by section this place is taking shape. Alright, go ahead, Cadet. Need a breather. Damn it, cadet. Alright, now it's on me. Alright, that's good. That's also very good. Just need one of these dice to work. Perfect. The exterior of the manufacturer is as good as it's going to get. You hope it works. To be sure you can face the hunter, all three parts of the plan must be ready by the time they arrive. And it seems like we are indeed ready. You know, Aiden's voice comes over the comms, shimmering with interference. From here, it doesn't look half bad. You look across the shell of the manufactory, now studded with lights and dotted with markings. The fresh welds and plates giving the whole place a fragile, patchwork feeling. If I was a piece of shit hunter, this is what I'd think a normal person's settlement would look like, right? Right. Cadence goes quiet for a moment, her attempt at humor only serving to remind you both of the desperate circumstances. Have you spoken to Flint? Cadence pauses. I mean, really? Spoken? Why? Oh, Cadence stumbles over her words. I just thought you two might want to speak about... She trails off. Flint is very loyal. I know they are quiet and, well, intense, but... She sighs. I just hope you two can find some common ground. I don't think Flint likes me. Nobody thinks Flint likes them at first. You can hear Cadence' comforting smile in her voice. We know better now. Olivera is a refuge. Cadence takes a breath. For all of us. I was in trouble when I met Karman. We all were, in one way or another. Seraphin has told me a lot about you. Cadence hesitates. And I can see what you're trying to do for Flint. Or Olivera. I appreciate it. And I know Xander does, and Karman will do as well, and Flint... Cadence pauses. Well, you'll see. The comms click off, returning you to the silence of the manufactory. You look out across the false colony at the glittering lights. They're a poor imitation of Olivera's real lights, those that indicate the colony's fragile, delicate state. You shake it off and move on. This isn't over yet. End the cycle. Wake up, sleeper. Seraphin is in the bunks. We've got incoming. You shake off the haze of forgotten dreams and get up. In moments, you're in the cockpit. Xander, Cadence, and Seraphin all gathered around the console. On it, the local view shows nothing. Not a single ship signal. A few objects beyond a scattering of debris. It was right here. I swear it. Seraphin jabs at the screen. A ship. Small, but definitely a ship. Seraphin, Cadence sighs. You've all been up a while. Get some rest. I know what I saw. He catches her eye. You look at the screen, its gridded view showing the scattered signature of debris, like schools of fish drifting in a soft current. The manufactory is a noisy blob at the center of the circle, one that dissolves into the background at its edges. Nothing. And then there it is. A flicker, a flash, a spark of movement and light among one of the debris clouds. It flares and then is gone again. You look up at and Seraphin meets your eye. He reads your expression immediately. Seraphin slams a hand down on the console, opening up the comms channel. Look alive, Flint. They're coming in. Go deep and be ready to run. He pulls his hand off the switch. Better hope they heard that. Then you see it through the cockpit glass. The flare of an engine, faint and masked, but driving a squat, dark ship out of the debris. The Hunter. The ship seems to idle a little near the manufacturer's asteroid, drifting past the dressed-up shell of the old facility. Time to see if our fake colony is convincing enough. Cadence nervously clasps her hands together. Will they buy it? They better. Seraphin looks concerned. But they think this place looks abandoned, and I might just strafe the whole facility. Seraphin swallows hard. We need them to dock, to come inside. You look out at the ship, and as you do, it jumps forward, towards the docking tower. You watch for a few tense moments as it hesitates, and then slides into position onto one of the docking bridges. Hayden sighs in relief. You went for it. Seraphim pats you on the shoulder. Good job. The rat is in the maze. We can trick them now. He exhales. At least that's the theory. I hooked up some basic monitoring devices in the assembly line. Xander calls over from another console. A few shitty cameras repurposed from the factory monitoring systems. Not much, but hopefully enough to tell where they're at. Caden, Seraphim, and you crowd around the screen. Xander flicks between noisy black and white images and feeds of static. You squint into the fizzing dark, trying to pick out any details. Then, suddenly you see them. S&ARP operative. A shadow drifting beneath a flickering light, dark-clad in military gear, a long gun held ready at their shoulder, deathly pale skin, and in their eyes gleaming through the faceplate, glowing irises. Who the hell is that? Seraphim pulls back from the screen. They look like a sleeper. Xander finishes Seraphim's sentence. The figure disappears outside the margins of the frame, and Xander flicks through the feeds. Where'd they go? So, an interesting thing from the first game. In the first game, there were two hunters that would chase you. There was the first guy, whose name I forget. He was a human dude, blonde. He went around with like a big magnum, basically. And he was kind of just in it for the fun. So after a while, he wouldn't bring you in. He would be like, hey, if you cover my bar tab, I'll let you stick around for a bit. Until eventually, he delayed the contract to capture us for so long that S&ARP canceled the contract. And then later we learn S&ARP canceled all of their bounty hunter contracts. But apparently there was one dude named Maywick who had done such a good job that he became the in-house guy for all the sleepers. All the rogue sleepers. And when we see him, he has the same yellow eyes of a sleeper and the same like biomechanical blood. In the first game, I thought he might have been a cyborg. But seeing that image of the hunter in this game, it looks like Maywick. Now, I can't see too much of it, but it looks like he has the black hair and everything. So I'm wondering if they found this Maywick dude, who was such a good hunter, that they made a sleeper engram of him. And I'm wondering now if all of the hunters of S&ARP are copies of Maywick. That's what I'm curious about. Though, of course, I haven't had any confirmation about this. This is just kind of a theory that I have from playing the game. Now, I could be wrong, but I think it's an interesting theory. Alright, where were we? You drift back from the screen, trying to think straight. The hunter is a sleeper, or something else. You replay the image of the figure in your mind, but it has already shifted in your memory. It is your face staring back. It is Flint's. It is the sleeper's mask of death. Sleeper. Seraphim grabs you by both shoulders and looks you in the eye. You need to focus. You should get down there. Xander's eyes are wide. This changes things. This changes nothing. Seraphim nods. We wait for Flint's signal. We hold here. The ordinance is in place. Seraphim looks at you for reassurance. The moment we get the signal, we blow it. You think of the mining charges rigged in daisy chains, the fuel barrels lashed to detonators, the command code ready to transmit from the rig. Seraphim sees the determination in your eyes. We hold. So you wait. Cadence's eyes on the manufactory below, Xander tapping at the glass. Seraphim perched by the console, listening for the signal. Then you hear it, the hiss of an open comms channel. You look to Seraphim, and he hears it too. A static haze that fills the cockpit. You all go still. Seraphim nods towards an indicator on the console. It's Flint's channel. A click, a scrape, then silence. Seraphim frowns, tapping at the controls. What? He scrolls. Flint's transceiver is gone. He's dead. Panic hits the cockpit. Xander gliding over to the console, Cadence going pale. Sleeper. Seraphim turns and looks back over her shoulder towards you. We need to go in. Go! Cadence looks between you, Seraphim, and Xander with a steely expression. I'll stay here. She glances nervously at the console. Give me the signal and I'll send the detonation signal. She swallows hard. If it works. Seraphim looks torn for a moment and then nods. Let's go. You rush down to the airlock and suit up with the others, and then you're out, descending through the rock-strewn void in intense silence. You enter the manufactory through a gap in the frame, passing through layers of twisted facility into the deep parts where you know Flint waits in the dark. You say nothing to each other, afraid the comms will be intercepted. You lead Xander and Seraphim on, seeking the deep bays under the silos where you began setting up the ordnance. Though unfinished, perhaps there is enough down there for this to work. If not... Seraphim's hands fall on your shoulder, pulling you back. You go to speak and then you see it, a torch beam lancing through the dark. The Hunter, as you saw them on the grainy footage of Xander's cameras, but real now. Just below, a long gun held ready at their shoulder, pushing through the dark and broken layers of the facility, seeking Flint. Seraphim, Xander, and you exchange wide-eyed glances in silence. The Hunter passes below, disappearing into a dark passage. You wait together, the moment stretching out, then descend down into the same passage. The silence is absolute. Suddenly, there's a flash of light ahead, bright and forceful, and a rumble that shakes rust flakes from the walls. Xander pushes off hard, launching past you into the dark. Seraphim goes too, and you instinctively glide forward as another rumble shakes the foundation of the facility. You come into a low bay scattered with glowing embers. Scorched holes in the walls spew drops of red-hot metal, where a weapon has been discharged. The Hunter floats to the center, taking aim again, and you see a flicker of movement on the far side. Flint retreating. Before you can act, a slight figure in a suit slams to the back of the Hunter. Xander. As he hits, the Hunter's gun spins out of their hand. Hey, rush in. You slam into the Hunter, lashing out with your fists. Hunter strikes back and you almost lose your grip on them. But you feel Xander at your side, striking out too. The three of you spin through the spark-filled bay towards a gaping dark shaft at its far side. The Hunter, dazed from the blows, kicks out against the two of you, setting themselves spinning away, their torch slipping from their grip and arcing across the bay. As it does, they fall back, unable to find anything to slow their glide, spinning into the dark. Hunter disappears down the shaft as you and Xander drift back into the bay. I've got Flint, Seraphim calls over local comms. We ascend, now. You look across the two of them, kicking off from the floor of the bay towards a ragged hole in the ceiling. You and Xander exchange a single glance, then follow. Cadence, Seraphim is on the wideband. Detonate this place now. Send the command. There is silence. You ascend through it, through the layers of the manufactory, speaking the open void of space beyond. You clear the manufactory, gliding into open space. A silent shockwave, like a gust of wind, runs through the void. The silent rumble spits out a scatter of debris. You turn back, still gliding towards the ship, and see the shattered manufactory. Whole sections are bending outward, the framework shredded, plating tumbling away in shards. You look across at Seraphim and Flint, their eyes set on the ship, trying only to stay ahead of the debris. You do the same, fixing your attention on the rig and nothing else. The Hunter is dead. And with that, let's get the fuck out of here. You limp back to Olivera, the mood in the rig one of deep exhaustion. As the colony appears, visible from the cockpit, the satisfaction of having run a terrifying gauntlet and come back in one piece shifts the mood. The crew's improved mood only becomes more obvious as you draw closer to Olivera. As you come into dock with the colony, you feel a wave of relief. Seraphim pats you on the shoulder as you both wait for the airlock to open. That Hunter, he sighs. It's not as cruel than I could have imagined. What matters is we dealt with them. Seraphim nods. We certainly did. The airlock hisses open, revealing the docking bridge where Xander first confronted you. This time, another more substantial figure awaits you in the passage. I hear you're the ones I should be thanking for saving my life. Karman leans against the side of the tunnel, one arm clamped against his waist. So, thank you. He nods to the two of you. Good to see you up. Just about, although I'm told I shouldn't be. He smiles slyly. Karman! Cadence rushes past the two of you, gliding into Karman with an embrace strong enough to leave the injured man off balance. Alright, careful. You don't want to put me back in the med bay now, do ya? Karman pushes Cadence back with a gentle grip on her shoulders. He flinches as he does, his joke clearly holding some truth. Sorry, Cadence smiles. Just glad to see you up. A frown crosses Karman's face. Where's Xander? You losing your vision, old man? You look back, see Xander and Flint behind you in the tunnel. Xander smiles widely at Karman, betraying his happiness to see him. I'll be just fine, Xan. Karman's words are confident, but his tone suggests he isn't convinced. Notice his hands are tightly balled into fists, as if resisting pain. Wonder if he should really be up at all. Karman turns to look at you and Seraphim. I think we need to talk. How about you two and Flint accompany me to the medbay? Karman winks. Flint pushes past you both and goes to Karman, helping him out of the tunnel. As he does, they exchange a few words. You're too far away to make them out. You and Seraphim exchange glances and follow behind them, into Oliveira. Yawns. I'm very yawny this time of day. It's been a while. Karman leads you to a small recovery chamber in the medbay, where his bed is set up. A handful of tubes and wires float gently beside it, attached to boxy devices. Flint has already left the group, leaving just you and Seraphim with Oliveira's injured founder. Karman meets your eye with a hard look. So, how did you two end up stumbling onto our colony out in the shoals? He raises an eyebrow. They're not usually open to visitors. Ankita sent us to you. You see the flicker of recognition in Karman's eyes when you mention Ankita. You produce the thumbnail drive, holding it out for Karman to inspect. She told Slaver to deliver this to you, and you alone. Seraphim folds his arms. Karman pauses thoughtfully. That's a name I've not heard for a while. He takes the drive. It seems I should thank you again, he sighs. Perhaps I owe you some explanation myself. Ankita and I used to work together a lifetime ago. Karman shakes his head. We went our separate ways. Then she turned back up in Oliveira. I established this colony as a refuge, a way of starting again. Karman clasps his hands together. The belt is changing, and I'm afraid of what's coming. Ankita took refuge here for a short while, and then one cycle she was gone. Karman shrugs. That's not unusual for her. Each of us has our own demons. He holds up the drive. I'll take a look at what's on here when I'm able. He looks at the drive with concern. I will let you know what I find. You and Seraphim thank him and leave the chamber as he settles back on his recovery bed. As you leave, Flint catches your attention. Can we speak? Seraphim pauses. I'll get you back on the rig. He looks between the two of you and then glides away. Flint hovers, a look of concern on his mask-like face. What do you need? Flint gives you a curious look. You don't remember any of it, do you? Any of what? Of how you got here. Of your history. Flint screws up their face in a pained expression. At first, I thought you were hiding something, or you were intentionally avoiding the subject. So I waited. But I understand it now. You don't remember me at all. You take a moment to think, try to recall Flint. You furrow your brow in frustration, sifting through hazy memories of Darkside, and further back, of your arrival to the belt. You close your eyes and see the faces of other sleepers, panicked, desperate, in darkness. I don't remember. We worked together. in the same art mining installation, along with the other sleepers. He searches your eye for a spark of recognition. We weren't close. I'm not sure we really spoke. Very few of us did. But I was there when we planned the escape together, the run to the freighter, collapsing the mine shaft. Flint stops, struggling to continue in the face of the blank look you're giving them. You feel an unpleasant itch, as if something is crawling around inside your skull. You can see that Flint wants you to recall them, to recall the escape, the installation. You find only hazy sensations, and beneath them, pain. I'm sorry, I don't mean to. Flint looks down. I know you can't help it. I just needed to say something, to know if you really don't remember. Thank you for everything you've done for me, and for Olivera. Flint turns and drifts away dejectedly, unable to continue. As you watch Flint go, you scratch at the side of your head, trying to find something in the way they move, the way they speak, their mask-like face. A face that was identical to yours when it was first cast, but that, over cycle after cycle of wear and damage, has been transformed. Two machines so close in form and function, estranged by experience,